Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling one of the most famous fantasies of modern travel, the Mile High Club. But is it just a harmless thrill, or is it really a one-way ticket to a total legal and social nightmare? Let's get into it.
I mean, you've heard the jokes, right? You've seen it in the movies. But what is the real story behind this, let's call it exclusive, high-altitude club? Trust me, it is way more complicated than you probably think. So what are we really talking about here? Is joining the club this harmless, spontaneous act of passion? A romantic fantasy cooked up by decades of pop culture? Or is it actually a reckless gamble? A gamble with your reputation, your freedom, and yeah, even your future. Okay, to really get this, we have to rewind. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Back to a time when flying was this super glamorous adventure. And the rules, well, let's just say they were a little more flexible. So what is it? It's basically this unofficial, informal, I guess, badge of honor for people who've consummated their love of travel in the most literal way you can imagine. But here's the thing. This whole idea, which feels so modern, actually has its roots way back in the wild early days of aviation. Believe it or not, it all kicked off in the 1920s with this daredevil pilot, a guy named Lawrence Spear. Then you fast forward to the golden age of flying, and you've got airlines like Pan Am just fanning the flames, selling this dream of sky romance with their fancy, luxurious cabins. But today, man, the conversation has completely shifted. It's not about romance anymore. It's all about risk.
All right, so let's talk numbers. How many people are actually doing this? The data might surprise you. And honestly, it tells a story that's both kind of fascinating and a little bit scary. So, back in 2011, Virgin Atlantic, an airline that, let's be honest, has never been shy about some cheeky marketing, did a survey, and they found that a whopping 7% of their passengers admitted to joining the club. Now I know, 2011 was a while ago, but it still gives you a sense of just how common this fantasy really is. But here's the reality check. The FBI has seen a huge spike in reports of sexual misconduct on planes. We're talking nearly tripling between 2014 and 2020. This shows it's not just about some private thrill anymore. No, this is a serious and growing problem. So let's say you get caught. What happens next? Well, it completely depends on where you're flying. And the answer, yeah, it's probably gonna surprise you. Okay, first things first. Forget everything you think you know about international waters or anything like that. It does not apply here. When you're on a plane, you are on that country's sovereign territory. A Japan Airlines flight, you're in Japan. An American Airlines flight, you're under US law. It is really that simple. And listen, the consequences are absolutely no joke. In the US, you could be facing federal charges for interference with a flight crew. Over in the UK, you could get hit with a charge under the Sexual Offenses Act. We're talking about serious fines, potential jail time, and a criminal record that, follows you around forever. And in some parts of the world, you are really playing with fire. In many Middle Eastern countries, for example, just physical contact between unmarried people can be a serious crime. You could be arrested the second you land. In a place like China, your little in-flight adventure could go viral online, leading to some really severe consequences for your freedom and your future. Not worth it. And hey, let's not forget about the cabin crew. They're not just there to pour you a soda. These are trained professionals. Their main job is safety, and that includes keeping things, let's say, orderly. Trust me, they have seen it all, they know every trick in the book, and they will absolutely not hesitate to call ahead and have the police waiting for you at the gate. But what if you could take the other passengers and the crew's watchful eyes completely out of the equation? Well, that's where this story gets really interesting. Now, technically, the same laws still apply on a private jet. But let's be real, with no one else around to complain, enforcement is, well, it's pretty lax. It's a huge legal gray area, and honestly, it's kind of an open secret in the world of private aviation. And you know what they say, where there's demand, a market will pop up. This desire for a totally private, high-altitude experience, it's actually created a surprising and completely legal niche industry. Get this. There are companies like Love Cloud in Las Vegas that have basically turned the Mile High Club into a legitimate business. You charter a small private plane, you get a private cabin with a bed, and the pilot stays in the cockpit and gives you total privacy. It's all above board, FAA approved, and completely legal. It's just a fascinating example of how the market adapts to even the most unconventional desires. But, okay, for the rest of us flying commercial, the risks today are higher than they have ever been. And it's not just about the law anymore. In the 21st century, the court of public opinion can be the most brutal judge of all.
Just look at this global snapshot. It really shows you how complicated this whole thing is. In the US, it's kind of been commercialized, but the legal risk is super high. In the UK, people might joke about it, but the consequences are still pretty serious. Then you go to Japan, where it's a huge taboo, or the UAE, where it's basically a one-way ticket to jail. The cultural attitude and the actual legal reality, they are often worlds apart. And of course, we live in the age of social media, which means the stakes are just off the charts. All it takes is one person with a phone, one photo, one video, and your little moment can go viral across the globe. You could get banned from the airline for life. You could lose your job. Your reputation could be ruined. The price of admission to the Mile High Club today is just way, way too high.
So really, the old fantasy is dead. What used to be seen as this quirky, even romantic taboo is now just a symbol of pure recklessness and risk. Let's face it, the Mile High Club is just not a club you want to be a member of anymore.
So what does this all tell us? The whole idea of the Mile High Club has turned into this fascinating social experiment. It's become a test of our boundaries, a test of desire, and a test of our willingness to take huge risks in a world where it feels like someone is always watching. I guess it's just the ultimate reminder that even at 30,000 feet, you can't escape the consequences of your actions.